Well, all right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Hot Seat Automotive Podcast. It's your buddy CJ here. And tonight, we're talking about all things automotive industry, the car guy hobby, cars, all the things that real gearheads love talking about. We got that real gearhead talk. Your buddy CJ's back. Here we are at the home base, in the home office for Hot Seat Automotive Podcast. And we back, and we talking about cars and gearhead stuff and automotive events. You name it. Come on, we're back. Guys, give me a like and subscribe. I appreciate and love each and every one of my subscribers. Leave me those comments. You know your buddy CJ's all about interacting with you. You know how to find me. Leave me those comments. Hit me up on Instagram. Come on, let's get into this. Tonight, what are we talking about? Listen, we got news in the automotive industry. Anytime Lamborghini comes out with a new supercar, mamma mia, we got to talk about it. Guys, the new Lamborghini Temerario is here. Hey, I got to say that right. Your buddy CJ wants to get the pronunciation right. Temerario, what are we talking about here? The Lamborghini Temerario. Let's talk about it. There's a heck of a lot of information available out there. The car has made its debut. It's been out there. It was out at Monterey. It's been shown elsewhere. It's all over the internet. But tonight, your buddy CJ is going to get into kind of what I think about it. I'm also going to make some predictions. Stick around. Watch the whole video and listen to my predictions. You tell me what you think. Is your buddy CJ off on this? But I'm going to make some predictions on Lamborghini and the Temerario and some of its competition. That just might surprise you. I'll tell you what I think. Let's get into it. Come on. First things first, guys. Let's take a look at this thing and talk about some of the particulars. So here it is. Lamborghini Temerario. What do you guys think? This is the replacement for the Huracan. Okay. The new supercar from Lamborghini to replace the Huracan is going to be a V8 twin turbo with a hybrid drive, 3 electric motors, 2 electric motors powering the front wheels, 1 electric motor integrated with the drivetrain for the rear wheels. The story out back, V8 flat plane crank 4.0 liter twin turbo producing about 800 horsepower. And hello, is this thing working? Lamborghini Temerario V8 twin turbo engine revving to 10,000 RPM. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. This thing gonna rev, boys. She gonna rev, okay? Combined horsepower, 920. Are you kidding me? She's gonna have the 8-speed dual clutch transmission similar to the one that's in the new Revoluto, the V12 hybrid supercar from Lamborghini. Same transmission in this car. She's going to do 0 to 60 somewhere around 2.7 seconds, all-wheel drive. Top speed somewhere around 210, 211 miles per hour. So this is a serious hybrid supercar from Lamborghini replacing the Huracan. What do you guys think? Going to have an all-aluminum frame, not unlike the Huracan. Okay, let's take a look at another view, guys, because I think it's important. I think to us as gearheads, just in terms of the aesthetics of these cars as they come out, why don't we take a look at this sort of top-down view? There it is, Lamborghini Temerario. Here it is in that green, looking really cool, top-down. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about the design cues of the Temerario versus the Huracan? I've got to say, first things first, you definitely see some similarities. You've got the hexagon theme. You've got the wedge shape. You've got the blades, if you will. That duckbill rear spoiler. You are picking up some similarities, some design cues back to that Huracan heritage, but definitely some updates. The headlights, very different, much more aggressive and active aero. The exposed rear wheels, it's a significant update. You've got these LEDs up front in the nose. Let me know what you guys think about that. listen, I think there was a lot of thoughtfulness in this design. Most folks I've spoken to are fans of the design. I think the number one thing that I'm hearing from enthusiasts is hybrid, skeptical, generally being skeptical of hybrid. And then the next thing you'll hear is, boy, are we going to miss the V10. Now, I don't necessarily subscribe to that. Listen, I love the V10 power plant. I love the V12 power plant. But hard to argue with a V8 twin turbo revving to 8,000 RPM. It's just, it's different. You can argue which architecture is better. Well, I'd rather have the 10 cylinders naturally aspirated. Let's go. I agree. That's a thing. But I'll tell you what another thing is: an extremely high revving twin turbo V8 flat plane crank going up to 10,000 RPM. That's a whole other thing, in terms of your experience as the driver in a supercar. It's going to be different, but still thrilling. Just like a V12 in an Aventador or a Revoluto. I have not driven a Revoluto yet. I've driven Aventadors. That's a thrilling experience as well. That's not to say that the V10 isn't. That's not to say that a high rev V8 twin turbo isn't. Listen, McLaren's been doing high rev, smaller displacement twin turbo V8s for years in supercars, and I don't hear a lot of people complaining about that. Okay, so I am actually all about a high rev V8 twin turbo. V6 twin turbo, listen, we've got the Artura out there. We've got the Ferrari 296 out there. The cars put up big numbers in hybrid form, no doubt. But a V8 twin turbo producing 800 horsepower by itself is impressive. The Lamborghini Temerario will not disappoint. That's my number one feeling on it. Guys, let's talk a bit about the EV component, the hybrid drive. 3.8 kilowatt hour battery. You can plug it in. This will be a plug-in hybrid, as opposed to certain other hybrid supercars that are not plug-ins, that'll only do regenerative braking or charge off of the engine. Lamborghini Temerario, how do you like that? She's a plug-in hybrid. So it's the Lamborghini Prius. Okay, I said it. I made the joke. I got it out of the way. Just having a little bit of fun tonight, guys. Don't hate. And I'm not hating on this car. I think this will no doubt be an incredible technological marvel in many ways. And I'm excited to see it come to the market. I told you guys I was going to give you a couple of predictions on the Lamborghini Temerario, and I'm gonna stay true to that. Let's take a look at another shot here, because I think it's fun to look at these things together with you here on the channel. Guys, I've missed you, and I'm glad to be back, but let's take another look at the Temerario together. Guys, looking at this car, absolutely striking. Let me make a prediction. Can I make a prediction tonight? Hello. Here we go. Lamborghini Temerario being launched as a hybrid. V8 twin turbo with 3 electric motors, 2 powering the front wheels, 1 integrated with the transmission powering the rear wheels. My prediction is that this car will be offered in an all internal combustion engine version, rear wheel drive. Write it down. Your buddy CJ said it. Now, what do I think? I think they're going to sell well, okay? But I do think that as some of this EV legislation gets walked back, that's one of my predictions. Those of you who know me and those of you that have watched my other episodes, you know that I've made predictions on that, and we're already seeing indications of that. I think EV mania and EV hysteria will gradually be walked back a bit. I don't think EVs and hybrids are going anywhere, but I do think there will be a move to sort of loosen up and evolve from an automotive manufacturer standpoint and to bring back the straight internal combustion engine versions of these cars. I do believe it. And I could be wrong. I don't have a crystal ball. But that is my prediction. And certainly for the Lamborghini Temerario, watch this space. Your buddy CJ said it. You heard it here first. Let's look for an all internal combustion engine version of this car without the hybrid drive. I think it could happen, guys. Let me know what you think. Couple other things with the Temerario. I do think, and by the way, no word yet on what the straight EV range will be. So there will be, I think there's something like 10 to 12 or 13 different drive modes for the Temerario, which I think is pretty wild. It'll have, I think, 3 display screens. So, this is sort of next level, high tech generation of supercar. No word yet on what the straight EV range will be, as if anyone really cares. But listen, if you're buying a car like this, there is a gee whiz factor for being able to drive your supercar in straight EV mode. Now, the direct competitors of the Lamborghini Temerario are already out and available. Number 1, you got the Ferrari 296. Number 2, you got the McLaren Artura. Now, I have not driven a Ferrari 296. I'm not a huge Ferrari guy, but I am a car guy. You guys know that. You know me. I am a McLaren fan, and I'm a former McLaren owner, and I'll probably own another McLaren. I have driven a couple of Arturas. I'm a fan of the Artura. Listen, what have I been saying about McLarens for a long time? And I'm not the first one to say it. McLarens can have bugs. They do English car things. But, the Artura is a really cool car. The test drive experience that I had with a McLaren Artura the first time, the infotainment was doing weird things, and it had sort of some of those McLaren bugs. I think if you look at the Lamborghini Temerario against the Artura, against the 296, Lamborghini did it again in terms of which car is more in your face, aggressive, and just performance, kind of next level. I think you got to look close at the Temerario if that's your criteria, right? If you want the most wild car in that class, you got to look close at the Temerario. Now, you're going to pay for it. They haven't announced formalized pricing yet, guys. The configurator is open. I was messing with it earlier. But you're probably looking at a starting point well north of $300K. That's word on the street. You're probably looking at closer to $350K to get into a new Temerario. And after you spec it, they're going to be offering a Allegorita light package, for example. If you want the lightweight package, the track-focused version of the Temerario, at least at launch, you're going to be looking at a $400,000 nut for one of these. I mean, look at the Technica. Your buddy CJ had one on order at one point. I decided to pull out of it for other reasons, just looking at some other cars. But, you look at what Technicas were speccing out at. Big money, right? So, if you look at a 296 versus an Artura versus a Temerario, the much more wild, in-your-face, higher performance spec car in various ways, and including getting a 4-liter V8 twin turbo versus a V6, Temerario is probably the one you want if that's your thing. If you're more of a Ferrari guy and all the things that go with the image of Ferrari and the driving experience of the Ferrari, you'd probably go 296. The Artura, listen, McLaren isn't for everybody. I think it's a unique cat that would buy an Artura, in all honesty. There's a lot of great McLarens out there. 750S versus an Artura. If I was going with a new McLaren, I'd buy a 750S all day. But I wouldn't rule out the Artura. Guys, unpopular opinion. Looking at the new Temerario, and I'm not hating on it, from certain angles, it looks like an evolved Huracan to me. From other angles, real talk, does this car not look like Gallardo 2.0? Let me show you guys something. Let's look at this together. I'm going to be real with you. Certain angles of the Temerario remind me of the Gallardo. So here it is again. Lamborghini Temerario. And a truly innovative supercar replacing the Huracan. But do the styling cues not remind you of an evolved Gallardo? Is the Lamborghini Temerario the Gallardo 2.0 in terms of the way it looks? You guys tell me. And by the way, I'm a fan of this car. I haven't seen it in person, but as much as I can be from looking at photos and messing around with the configurator, as I'm sure you guys have as well, and also doing my research, I am a proponent of this car. I am intrigued by this car as much as I can be without having checked it out myself and driven it yet. But real talk, yo, this car is giving off Gallardo vibes. Am I the only one who sees it? Is the Lamborghini Temerario giving off Gallardo vibes? You tell me. And by the way, that's not a bad thing. Love the Gallardo heritage. I think it's really cool. Listen, I think it's going to be a wild, incredible next-gen supercar. You know, I also think this is an exciting time to be alive for many reasons, but an exciting time to be an automotive enthusiast who's in the market for supercars. Are you kidding me? Like, the outgoing class of, you know, whether it's, you know, Ferraris or McLarens, you know, the 720s, the 750s, the Huracans, the Aventadors, whatever it might be, you know, even if you look at like the Ferrari 488, so on and so forth, Ferrari F8, all these cars, right? The outgoing class of evolved supercars with pure internal combustion engine platforms are so incredibly evolved and refined, and the performance is so ridiculous. You know, so we've got full access to all of those cars. So exciting, right? Everything that's out there in the market right now. Now you look at the incoming class of the next generation supercars, whether it's the Lamborghini Temerario, whether it's the Revoluto, whether it's the Ferrari 296, the McLaren Artura, and everything else that's coming from these manufacturers, legit supercar companies, right? I'm talking about supercar tier cars. This is an exciting time, right? I do want to make the point that if you're in the market right now or in the next 3 to 5 years for a supercar, do you go with the next generation 296, Artura, Revoluto, Temerario, or do you look at some of those cars that are already at the top of the innovation peak from a straight internal combustion engine platform? For example, the outgoing Huracan, a fantastic proven platform, fully evolved as the Technica and the Evo, and even the generation before that, the first gens. These are incredible supercars. And for that same money, $300K, $350, $400K, you can have your pick of the ultimate Huracan and just have a wild, incredible supercar experience. Same thing in the Ferrari realm. Like, look at the 488, okay? Look at the 488. For that $300K, you don't even have to spend $300K. $350K, you can get an incredible internal combustion engine-based Ferrari, okay? You know, from a McLaren standpoint, for $300K, are you kidding me? You can get all the 720S you might want, okay? You can get you can get a heck of a 750S. So begs the question, and by the way, coming back to Lamborghini, all right, if you're talking about buying a Huracan instead of a Temerario, you can get a fully goosed out Technica, an Evo, whatever you want, you know, let's say 250 to 350K versus waiting on a Temerario where you're going to be 350 to 400K. Interesting comparison. Do you want to be the guy? Do you have to be the guy with 920 combined hybrid horsepower, all-wheel drive? Or do you want to be a V10 guy, all engine, okay, in an evolved Huracan? That's up to you, but an interesting question, right? Now, here's the other thing, Lamborghini boys. Am I going to spend 350 to 400K on a Temerario that I'm going to spec, which would be an incredible car, or do I go with a used Aventador? You at Aventador money for a Temerario. Newsflash, an Aventador is going to be more prestigious, more limited. I'm just being blunt with you. And I'm not hating on a Huracan, and I'm not hating on a Temerario. I'm telling you like it is. An Aventador, now granted, there's things you may not like about an Aventador. You don't have a dual clutch transmission. You know, maybe you can't. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Am I going to say this? Hello, is this thing on? You cannot really daily and cruise around in an Aventador as much as you can with a Huracan. I know y'all leave me those comments. CJ, you're crazy. You know, these are supercars. Don't even bring that up. Practicality is not the objective. I agree with that. But if you're a guy like me, see, I like to drive my cars. And I'm going to tell you right now, like, would I buy an Aventador? Yes, but I prefer like a Huracan, something I can actually drive, road trip. You know, it's a bit more, I can't believe I'm going to say this again, practical. You could live with it a bit more. But bringing it back to the question, for 350 to 400K, which supercar would you buy in 2024, 2025, 2026? I claim the world is yours. You've got so much. I say it again. These are interesting, fascinating times to be alive, to be an automotive enthusiast, and to potentially be in the market for a supercar. You got the best of the outgoing generation, okay? Full internal combustion engine cars, whether it's a Ferrari, a 488, an F8, whatever the heck it might be, McLaren 720S, McLaren 750S, Lamborghini Huracan, Aventador. This outgoing generation, that's wrapping up production or has largely wrapped up production, okay? All these internal combustion engine supercars are so evolved and incredible. And there's still, just wild inventory out there used on the used secondary market. You could have your pick of the litter of incredible, evolved, mature platform cars. Or do you want to break into the brave new world of hybrid? And I don't think there's a wrong answer either way. I know for me, am I ready for the hybrid experience yet? Possibly. Okay? But there's a lot of really great internal combustion engine supercars, guys. And you know, as a car guy, there's probably something tugging at your heartstrings. You want to be all engine. A lot of you guys out there want to be all engine as opposed to the electric. Now, having said that, I'm a car guy. I like technology too. Like, I'm not just, it's got to be high displacement, and I don't want all those gadgets. No, I'm not that guy. I kind of like the high tech. And God knows you get blistering performance out of the hybrid drive. The question is, you ready to jump into that water? You going to be willing to pay the premium for it? Number one, you're going to, two, being willing to wait for it, okay? Because the Temerarios, listen, what are we looking at? Probably 2025 before these things really start hitting the streets. I don't know, maybe later. And then three, there's a risk, right? Are they going to be buggy and weird and do weird stuff? Here's the elephant in the room. Boop, boop, I got to do that again. Is this mic working? You know your buddy CJ's having fun tonight. But in all seriousness, guys, what's that hybrid drive going to look like in 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years? These are considerations. Those batteries going to hold up? I don't know. You don't know. It's a consideration. Okay? So listen, guys, I wanted to come on here tonight, talk a little bit about the Temerario. I'm excited about it. I'm eager to check these cars out. Am I ready to run out and spec one and buy one? No, because I claim my next supercar will probably be something that's internal combustion engine only, probably not hybrid. That's just me, but I want to hear from you. You guys tell me. Hot Seat Automotive Podcast. Your buddy CJ loves you, but I need to hear from you guys on this. Lamborghini Temerario, yes or no? And then how do you think it stands up against the outgoing Huracan, against its competition, the Ferrari 296, the Artura from McLaren? What about an Aventador? What about a Lamborghini? What about a Ferrari 488? What about a McLaren 720 or 750S? Would you rather have one of those? Pick of the litter out there in the secondary market, or you got to have the latest and greatest, and you will pay the premium and wait for your Temerario. How does it compare to the Revoluto in your book? Is the Revoluto worth the premium over the Temerario? Fascinating comparison, right? Hot Seat Automotive Podcast. I got to hear from you guys. That's about it out of your buddy CJ tonight. I'll speak to you on the next one. Till then, peace.